Stop and listen, because this message did not reach you by accident. There is a reason your spirit has been uneasy, a reason sleep has felt lighter, a reason your heart has been sensing pressure without being able to explain it. Archangel Michael says there is a hidden enemy that has been watching your next move, but that is not the whole story. The greater truth is that heaven has already seen the watcher, already seen the plot, already seen the attempt to delay what God has decided for you. And yes, the tension you feel right now is real, but it is also a sign that something is shifting behind the scenes. Do not skip this. Do not brush it away. What is being revealed now may be the very thing that keeps you from stepping into the wrong season with the wrong expectations. Stay with this carefully, because the truth coming out is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to prepare you. Type Amen if you know God can warn before He moves. For too long, you may have thought your struggle was only about what you could see. The bills, the silence, the delay, the empty chair, the unanswered prayer, the door that almost opened and then seemed to close again. But there is more happening than you realize. In the unseen realm, there has been resistance. Yes, but there has also been observation. A line has been drawn around your next step. Heaven has marked your transition, and the enemy has been trying to read your movement before it happens. That is why certain people seem to pull back when you needed them most. That is why some conversations grew strange, some opportunities felt delayed, and some of the very things you trusted began to feel uncertain. Keep reading, because this is where the mystery deepens. What looked like confusion was not random, it was pressure around an appointed moment. Comment still standing if this season has tested your endurance. There is something you need to know about the way God protects what He plans to bless. He does not always announce the breakthrough before the battle. Sometimes He lets the pressure rise just enough to expose what is not supposed to cross with you into the next chapter. That is why this season has felt so heavy. You were not merely being delayed, you were being separated, you were being readied, you were being guarded from stepping forward too early before the pieces were in place. And this is important, because one of the hidden enemy's greatest tactics has been discouragement. Not destruction first, but exhaustion. Not always attack first, but the slow whisper that says, "It is not changing. It is too late. Stop believing." But that whisper is losing power now. Heaven has recorded every prayer you prayed in private, every tear you cried when no one was there, every time you asked God, "How much longer?" Type 1 believe if you still trust God in the waiting. Do not ignore this part. The Lord has been keeping records that you could not see. Every moment of surrender, every time you chose faith over fear, every time you kept moving when your strength was thin, it was all noticed. There are heavenly records that carry the evidence of your endurance, and the appointed time is approaching, when what was written will begin to manifest in your life. That is why the atmosphere around you feels different lately. You may not have the full picture yet, but the storm clouds are not gathering to destroy you. They are gathering to break. And when they break, what flows out will surprise you. A river is coming through dry ground. Something that felt blocked for years is beginning to move. Something that felt sealed is beginning to loosen. Something that seemed forgotten is being brought back into the light. Comment "I trust God" if you believe the hidden records are speaking now. There may have been moments when you wondered if God had overlooked your pain. There may have been moments when you felt invisible, like your obedience had gone unseen, and your prayers had vanished into silence. But heaven never lost track of you. The delay was not denial. The silence was not abandonment. And the hidden enemy that has been watching your next move has not been given permission to determine your outcome. In fact, the very pressure meant to make you retreat has been used to sharpen your discernment. You are seeing more clearly now, even if it hurts. You are noticing what is real and what is false. You are feeling where peace is absent, and where grace remains. That clarity is part of your protection. Stay alert, because another clue is being revealed. Someone has been discussing your name in a room you were not invited into, but the conversation is not ending the way they expected. Type protected if you know God surrounds what belongs to Him. Before we continue, I feel led to share something with you. Over the years, thousands of people have reached out asking for powerful prayers they could pray during difficult seasons of life. That's why I put together a collection of some of the most powerful faith-building prayers I know. These prayers have helped people find peace during anxiety, strength during hardship, and hope when they felt like giving up. The best part is that I decided to make it completely free. If you would like a copy, simply check the link in the description and I'll send it to you. Do not wait until another difficult season arrives. Take it now while it's available and keep it close for the days ahead. Now there is something else you need to know. There is a hidden decision already in motion, and it has been made in a place you cannot access with natural eyes. What looked like a closed chapter may have been a concealed preparation. What looked like rejection may have been divine redirection. What looked like a delay may have been heaven making room for something better than you expected. And yes, there is someone who has been watching your next move, but they cannot stop the counsel of God. They may observe, they may imitate, they may try to anticipate, but they cannot rewrite your calling. That is why you felt resistance every time you tried to settle for less than what God placed in your spirit. Your soul knew there was more. Your heart knew there was more. Your prayers knew there was more. And now the signs are beginning to gather around the edge of your waiting season. Soon the meaning of these delays will become clearer. Comment ready if you sense that change is close. I need you to stay with this, because the next revelation changes everything. The hidden enemy has not only been watching your next move, but has also been trying to make you believe that movement itself is too dangerous. That is how fear operates. It does not always shout. Sometimes it suggests. Sometimes it drains confidence. Sometimes it makes the road ahead look foggy enough that you hesitate at the threshold. But the Lord is bringing light to the pathway now. The lamp that seemed dim is being fueled again. The direction you asked for in tears is beginning to appear one step at a time, and there is another truth being revealed. Some of the opposition you faced was not because you were failing, but because you were approaching something sacred. When a person is close to a door God has prepared, resistance often intensifies before release. Type faith if you believe your next step is not hidden from heaven. There are moments when the soul gets tired of waiting for things that others seem to receive quickly. You may have watched doors open for people who did not even pray about them the way you did. You may have seen others move forward while your own progress felt slow and measured. But listen carefully. Speed is not proof of favor, and delay is not proof of absence. God has been dealing with layers in your life that other people never had to face. He has been rebuilding foundations, restoring strength, healing places no one else could see, and protecting you from a door that was not yet safe to enter. That is why this season has been both painful and holy. There was a hidden purpose inside the pressure. And now, as the clouds begin to break, you are about to understand why certain things had to stop before they started. Comment blessed if you believe God's timing is wiser than your fear. The truth coming out is not only about your enemy, it is also about your assignment. You were never meant to remain trapped in the same cycle of confusion, second-guessing, and spiritual exhaustion. That cycle has been designed to keep you looking at the problem instead of the promise. But the promise has not been erased. It has been waiting. Waiting for the right time. Waiting for your strength to return. Waiting for the hidden opposition to expose itself enough for heaven's intervention to become unmistakable. And now that moment is nearing. You may begin to notice unusual peace in places where anxiety once ruled. You may find that old fears no longer grip you as tightly. You may even feel a strange and holy expectation rising in your chest. Do not dismiss that feeling. It is a sign that the river is getting closer to the dry ground. Type 333 if you sense a shift beginning now. There is a closed gate in your story that has confused you for a long time. You asked God why it stayed shut so long. You wondered if you had done something wrong, if your prayers were not strong enough, if the door was simply never meant to open. But the answer is deeper than that. Some gates stay closed until the right season, because opening them too early would expose you to what you were not yet ready to carry. Heaven is not only concerned with getting you in. Heaven is concerned with what happens after you enter. This is why the waiting has been so precise. And now, at the appointed hour, that locked gate is beginning to respond. Not all at once. Not without trembling, but enough to let you know that the key has been turned. The purpose of the closed door is about to make sense. Keep reading carefully, because this is where provision begins to enter the scene. Unexpected provision is moving toward you, and it may arrive in a way you did not predict. It could come through a person who suddenly remembers your name. It could come through a conversation you almost ignored. It could come through an opportunity you once thought was gone forever. The details are still hidden, but the direction is clear. What you needed is not lost. What was delayed is not denied. What was withheld is not forgotten. And what seemed impossible is being touched by favor right now. The enemy wanted you to believe there would never be enough, never be stability, never be rest. But heaven is already responding to the cries you whispered when you were too tired to speak loudly. There is another piece of the puzzle about to appear, and it involves a door opening where you only expected a wall. Comment God is working if you believe provision is already on the move. Many people watching this message have been carrying burdens they never talk about. If that sounds like you, I want to give you something special. I created a free prayer guide filled with powerful prayers for protection, breakthrough, peace, healing, and strength. Thousands of believers have already downloaded it and shared how much it encouraged them during difficult moments. There is absolutely no cost. I simply wanted to place this resource into the hands of people who need it most. If you feel led, go to the description and claim your free copy before continuing. One prayer prayed at the right moment can change more than you realize. Now listen carefully, because the next part of this message is important. I also need to tell you that some relationships are being touched by this same movement. Not every connection will remain, and not every absence is permanent. Some people stepped back because their role in your season changed. Others distanced themselves because your growth made their intentions harder to hide. But there are also relationships being restored, and the way they return will reveal what was always true. The Lord is not only opening doors for your future, He is also exposing the difference between assignment and attachment. That distinction matters more than you know, because when the truth comes out, it will be clear who was aligned with your destiny and who was merely present during your delay. Do not let the pain of past betrayal make you suspicious of every new blessing. A healing wind is moving through this story, and with it comes discernment. Type 1 receive if you are ready for restoration without confusion. There is more happening than you realize in the hidden places of your life. While you have been trying to survive each day, heaven has been arranging outcomes. While you have been trying to stay hopeful, the records above have been speaking. While you have been asking why the road has been so long, divine timing has been preparing the exact moment when things begin to turn. And yes, there has been a watcher, a hidden enemy studying your next move, but their advantage is disappearing. Why? Because what God is about to do cannot be copied, predicted, or intercepted. When the moment arrives, the change will be unmistakable. You will look back and realize that the pressure was building toward release, not ruin. The storm was not endless. The valley was not your home. The waiting was not wasted. Type yes, Lord, if you are ready to see the reason behind the pressure. And now the atmosphere is shifting in a way that demands your attention. The dry land is not staying dry. The river is beginning to move. That means what once felt barren is preparing to become fruitful again. What once felt silent is preparing to speak. What once felt blocked is preparing to flow. You may notice that opportunities begin to appear where none existed before, almost as if the ground itself is making way for you. Do not let surprise make you doubt what God is doing. Sometimes the breakthrough looks so different from the pain that carried you here that it takes a moment to recognize it. But recognition is coming. Clarity is coming. Vindication is coming. And when it comes, it will answer questions that have lingered for far too long. Comment "My time is coming" if you believe your season is turning. What happens next is important, so remain until the end. The hidden enemy has been exposed not so that you can panic, but so that you can stop cooperating with fear. There is a difference between being attacked and being unguarded. Heaven is making you aware, strengthening you, and positioning you. Your task now is not to run from the future, but to walk toward it with a steadier heart. You do not need to chase what God is already releasing. You do not need to force what is being prepared. You only need to stay aligned, stay prayerful, and stay watchful. Very soon, a truth will become undeniable. The very thing that seemed delayed has been protected, and the thing that seemed hidden was actually being preserved for a better hour. That is the kind of mercy that changes everything. Type chosen if you believe God has preserved your path on purpose. There is a particular kind of pain that comes from waiting long enough to wonder if your hope was foolish. Maybe you have felt that. Maybe you have stood in the middle of your own life asking whether it still makes sense to believe. But listen, because this is one of the clearest signs that your breakthrough is close. The enemy always tries hardest when the edge of change is near. If he can get you to quit right before the turn, then he steals the testimony. But he has not succeeded. You are still here. You are still praying. You are still listening. And that matters more than you know. The angels have seen your endurance, and heaven has not forgotten the tears that fell in the dark. Some of those tears were not just signs of pain, they were seeds. And now those seeds are reaching harvest. Type 777 if you believe sacred timing is bringing fruit to your life. There is also a hidden blessing in the very thing that once felt like loss. That closed door may have saved you from an arrangement that would have drained your peace. That unanswered prayer may have been a delay that kept you from a counterfeit answer. That separation may have been the mercy that made room for something honest, stable, and whole. You may not have seen it then, but you are closer now to understanding why God allowed the detour. The enemy wanted you to interpret the delay as rejection, but heaven is revealing it as redirection. And this revelation is not arriving quietly. It is arriving with force, with clarity, and with holy comfort. The story is not ending where your fear predicted. It is turning where grace has been leading all along. Comment "I trust God" if you are beginning to see the mercy inside the mystery. I want you to hold on to this final image. Storm clouds breaking apart over a dry riverbed, and the first rush of water moving where nothing had moved for years. That is what this season is becoming. Not instantly, but surely. Not by human power, but by divine decision. The hidden enemy may have watched your next move, but heaven watched them watching you. And now the truth is coming out. The pressure is lifting. The records are speaking. The doors are responding. The forgotten prayers are reaching their appointed hour. Before this season ends, you will understand why the resistance was so intense, why the waiting was so long, and why the peace returning to your heart feels almost too gentle to be real. It is real. It is holy. It is yours. Stay faithful a little longer, because what is opening now has been sealed by God, and no hidden enemy can keep it closed. Amen. Before you leave, remember that my free prayer collection is waiting for you in the description below. Thousands of people have already downloaded it and used these prayers during seasons of anxiety, uncertainty, spiritual battles, and breakthrough. I made it completely free because I want every believer to have access to powerful prayers when they need them most. If this message encouraged you today, make sure you claim your free copy before you go. And if this message spoke to your heart, subscribe to the channel, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and leave your prayer request in the comments so this community can stand with you in faith. May God bless you, strengthen you, and guide every step ahead.